Sky Blue Peace and Love. I am Sash Lakai, aka Sashay, aka Susan Sashay, aka Journey, aka Odyssey, aka Chaos. I am the founder of the Sky Blue Melody Movement, and I am a creator, artist, musician, freedom writer, motivational speaker, and this is DaeRae Media's Artist Spotlight. When did I first discover my love for the arts? Music has pretty much always been a significant part of my life, as well as drawing, dance. I remember being a child, and my brothers and I would put together dance routines and entertain my mother's company. And my mother was also a vocalist in the 80s, so music has always been a big part of my life. Drawing, I've always loved to draw. I don't do it as much as I did as a child, but I do still love to do it. Dance, I don't really get into that now, but all the way up until maybe my early teens, I love dance. So just and anything that involves creativity, I've always loved. Specifically creative. Focus on creating music. Before I ever learned how to create music, I wrote poetry. And before poetry, I was always a child that would write down my thoughts. However I felt, I wasn't really good with communicating it. Didn't have a whole lot of friends. Was very quiet and withdrawn. But music was my escape. So whether it was listening to music or dancing to it, I've always incorporated it into my life. But as far as specifically finding that passion and that love for it, probably around 10 or 11. Because at 9, I can recall starting with the poetry, and it just kind of grew from there. So I'd write melodies, and then from there, poetry turned into hip hop. So from there, it just became lyrics. And I became somewhat of a young lyricist. So around 11. Some of one of my biggest is my mother. I can recall being a kid, growing up in the 80s, and she'd go out and she'd perform at music clubs and eventually church, once her lifestyle started to change. So my mother's a big influence. My brother is a huge influence. He's a musician. Trumpet, trombone, piano, drums. He's a man of many talents and wears many different hats. And my father was also in a band. And even though he wasn't a huge part of my life, the times that I did see him, I can always remember hearing Stevie Wonder, Tracy Chapman, the Gap Band. So he helped create and establish the love for those artists. My mother was more into artists like Anita Baker, Whitney Houston, Phyllis Hyman, Wham, Level 42. So in our household, music was very eclectic. It wasn't just R&B. It wasn't just jazz. It was like a bunch of different music, and we all just love music. I personally believe that music connects with the spirit, connects with the soul. So I definitely wish to bring the balance back to mainstream music. That's definitely one of my bigger missions. Throw some positivity out there. I think right now it's so saturated with the negativity and the negative side of everything that's happening, and there's not a lot of light put towards positive music. So I want to be one of those artists that help to uplift people and help people feel good on the inside, not just not just talk about the negative on the corner, the trap, and and that's no disrespect to those artists, because I think everybody has a place. But my place is definitely to uplift, to tell a story, sometimes tell the harsh truth, but definitely shed some light on what's going on in the world in my own way. As far as artists that I've worked with a lot of underground artists, or what's considered to be underground artists. I've worked with gospel artist Lisa McClendon. I've worked with Attitude that works with Timberland. I've worked with Attitude. I've worked with D-Focus out of Detroit. I've worked with DaeRae of RHHIB, Real Hip Hop is Back. I've worked with The Elements, the gospel hip hop group. So I've done quite a bit. I've also, like last year, one of my biggest things, of course, because I am a lyricist, I was actually able to open up for MC Light at a Georgia State show that she came down to do, and they actually created or put something together to where they dedicated a day for MC Light. So I think that was huge for me. Definitely paying respect to an artist that I grew up in the 80s watching. Those are some of the things that I've done so far. I've also done, back around the beginning of 2004, I did 106 and Park, Freestyle Friday. So that was huge for me. I've done endless shows, rap battles. I've also gotten into public speaking. So music is just not a part of my history, but I'm also anything that gears towards motivating people. I've been a part of that too as well. But, I don't just motivate through music; just become a way of life for me. Currently, I am working on a project that is called Sky's Evolution: The Human Experience, Volume 1. And that's basically just my introduction into a bigger league music-wise. I've taken a few steps of my own to put my music out there a little more. For quite some time, I found myself, creating here and there, but I got to a point to where I didn't even want to deal with music because of the disappointment, because of the exploitation that has happened in the past, and that I see going on with artists that that try to get their music out there. At one point, I kind of felt like I didn't want to be a part of it. But one thing I've also learned is you can't avoid passion. If you have a passion, you're gonna when you wake up with it and you go to bed with it, it's who you are. So I'm here to create music. I am a creator, and I've had to accept, okay, this is who I am, and now I'm just asking God, what am I to do with it? I've also done just recently a huge new play production called The Rim Shot. The Rim Shot Urban Musical is Angela Carswell, Reggie K-Song, a lot of big artists that they've got together. Huge, very talented people that they got together, and it's to shine a light on human trafficking. So I was super excited to do that, and they're actually working on putting the tour together. There's a lot of talented artists packed up in there. India Ryan, just a lot of huge people. So I'm super excited about that as well. That's what I've been working on lately. You can find me on Facebook under Sash Lakai, SASHLA accent mark Lakai. Also Tumblr, Sash Lakai. You can Google Sash Lakai, Google Sky Blue Melody, SKYBLU, no E, then Melody. You can also find me on Reverb Nation under Sash Lakai, Sky Blue Melody Movement. And for those who don't know, for those who are new to my music, Sky Blue Melody Movement is just a movement that represents positive content in music. Anything that's uplifting the people, Anything that's about love and peace and light, that's what Sky Blue Melody represents. That's where you can find me.
You can finally see it in my posture. My neck stretched like the Loch Ness monster. Hopping over landmines, strapped with a contra to conquer your soul and blow a hole through the conscience. I've been waiting too long, many years I pondered. Now I promise I'ma plummet on the next thing, run it and vomit. A beautiful blue, maneuver the truth, and I ain't worried by the image. I just do what I do when I make the impossible possible from an obvious obstacle. How the hell can you tell me what I am not to do? I am unstoppable, even my hair follicles. Cold as the North Pole, but my soul is tropical. Spill it with my abdominal, second like Obama do. Rise from the slumber and come with something phenomenal. Yeah. And even if the sky come falling, if God allow me to rise in the morning, I promise to come alive in the moment and arrive in the moment. It's nothing for me to own it. I create, inspire, inform, evolve. Create, inspire, inform, evolve. Create, inspire, inform, evolve. Create, inspire, inform, evolve. And even if the sky come falling, if God allow me to rise in the morning, I promise to come alive in the moment and arrive in the moment. It's nothing for me to own it. I create, inspire, inform, evolve. Create, inspire, inform, evolve. Create, inspire, inform, evolve. Create, inspire, inform, evolve.